Hi.
Hello.
How are
Oh,
you?
this lighting is horrible. Let me turn around 1 second. Okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
That's good.
Okay.
That's
Okay. I'm
good.
gonna actually get on here from phones. I use my headphones 'cause I forgot my iPad.
Here we go.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to listen on my phone, but my face will be on the lighting is here. It's just really bad. So have you done one of these with ARW before?
No, this is my first event, but I've taught
Yeah.
investing classes before. Yes.
Okay. So this is what you do. I
This is
met you
my,
before. Oh no, I
yes,
haven't
we
met
have met. You were doing the
you. When?
yeah.
Which one?
I think it was the first time I went to an ARW event. It was at this, I can't remember what it
The
was. It was
bar?
the bar, manifesting.
Yeah. So we talked about what you did, right?
Yes,
Is
we
your name
did.
Annabelle?
Eliza, no, so my name's Eliza, but
Okay.
Anna
That's what
Colin,
so that's what had
yeah.
me confused because I'm like, this looks like Eliza, but that
No,
ain't Eliza.
I'm not a white lady.
I was so confused. You should have saw
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you could
yeah.
have been in my brain right then. I was just like, what's
No, look,
going
you want to see something really trippy? Watch.
on? That makes all this sense. Okay, okay. We
Yeah.
gotta meet up so I can hear more about exactly what you do and all the things. Because you're an educator, right?
Well, so no, I work in real estate.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say I'm an educator more than I'm a consultant. But I
Mm,
try to help people understand what it means to invest in real estate. And then also connecting business owners and women with professionals that can really propel their business. So like
okay.
whether that's a financial tax strategist or um whether that's, someone that is like an insurance broker,
I
things
understand.
of that nature. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So try to help out that way.
Uh-oh. You back?
I am.
Okay. Okay. Are you letting everybody in now?
I'm trying to, yeah. I see them that they're
Okay,
starting to
cool.
come in. Yeah. I think I can make you a host.
Okay.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. Do you know how many signups we have today?
We're supposed to have, I think, over 25 people.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go off camera and I'll be back in just a moment. I'll be back in like 3 minutes, okay? And I'll let everyone start coming in.
Okay. Jess, I made Nima a host. So because she's with ARW. So
Great.
she can help admit people as me and you are chatting.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I feel like we should have like music.
I know. Do you have a Spotify playlist we can start with?
I know. Oh, do I play it on the Zoom? I gotta figure out how to do that next time where I like play music.
I didn't realize I was muted. I think you can. Are you on Zoom on your computer?
Yeah.
I think you can just play it on Spotify through there.
No, I don't remember how to do it. Or my password and stuff. I just have it on my phone.
Hey, Anna.
This is Jess.
I mean, Jess. Oh,
Confusing.
Lord.
We're both Anna.
No, that's okay. We always sign in under Anna, and everybody's always like, "Hi, Anna."
Hey, Jess.
Thank you for your help today. I appreciate it.
Of course, Jess Phillips.
That is me.
How you guys doing? So usually we just give them a second to kind of come on in the room. And just before we get started, since I didn't really do any pre-stuff with you guys, are you all doing the getting started, or would you like for me to introduce you guys and all the things?
Well, so
Um,
we're gonna do a screen share of a PowerPoint that we came up with, and in there we have like bios. So we're each gonna talk about ourselves. So if you want to do like just a very short, this is Eliza and Jess with the Anna K In Town team, like that's great, and then we'll talk a little bit in more depth.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
best, right, Eliza?
yeah. That works.
All right, I'm gonna start bringing people on in. Welcome, 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 ARW women. Or I guess that was kind of the same thing, women. Welcome, Atlanta Rising. Oh, look, some familiar faces. Hey, Allison, Dallery.
Hey, Naima.
How y'all doing? Centrisa, Cecile, Kanisha.
Hello.
How are you? How y'all guys doing tonight?
Good.
That's awesome, awesome, awesome. We're gonna get started in probably give us about 30 more seconds. As you guys come in, if you guys can put in the chat, how long have you been with us with ARW? And what's your intention here tonight? Like, what did you come here to learn? I know for me, I want to know all the money things. The boss things, you
Yeah,
know?
yes.
Yes, 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 yes. And I guess we'll get started. Everybody else can just kind of fall in when they get here. Um, Tonight, we are talking about investing like a boss. And we have Eliza and Jess here to help us through this process, both with Anna K Real Estate. Portia said, how to buy my second property. I heard that 6 months she's been here with us, and she wants to learn how to invest. Um, she joined in February and she would love more tips on investing. Okay, so we all trying to get to the money. I absolutely, absolutely love that. I'm not going to talk long because I want them to be able to get into all the things so we can think like an investor, like you said, and they can kind of talk about themselves. Dallery, hey Dallery, she's in the ARW. She wants to learn about real estate and making that money. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you guys in the chat, and I'm gonna hand it over to you, Eliza, and you just go at it.
All right. Jess, I'm going to let you start off here.
Okay, perfect. So thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. We're super excited. And, our biggest goal in life is to help people build wealth through real estate and through investing. So we're going to go ahead and teach you the basics about becoming an investor. And then you'll have all of our information on the end. So we're going to open up the floor for some questions. And then we would love to be able to sit down and have some one-on-one, more in-depth conversations such that we can really understand what are your personal goals and put together kind of a roadmap on how to achieve that. So thank you for being here. Oh, how do I go to the next? Okay, so this is one of our favorite quotes. So it says, in investing, what is comfortable is rarely profitable. And I know that investing, sometimes people get a little overwhelmed or it can be scary, but that is why you want to partner with a real estate professional. Becoming really good friends and really close with a professional in real estate is always super important because we work very closely with a lot of people who will be able to help you. So we have the best lenders in town. We have hard money lenders. We have inspectors. We have vendors. Basically, our Rolodex consists of, people far and wide. So anybody that you could possibly need during a real estate transaction, we have contact with. And so we're going to, make that uncomfortableness more comfortable. And we're going to really be able to hold your hand and walk you through the process. So a little bit about me. Oh, I want to preface, you are going to notice that there is a lot of writing on these slides. We're going to send this slide deck out at the end so that you'll be able to retain the information and go back and reference things that we talk about today. So just wanted to point that out. So my name's Jess. I am originally from upstate New York. I've been in the South now for about 15 years. My background came in hotel sales, and then that was in Charleston, South Carolina. And then I moved from Charleston to Atlanta, Georgia to be closer to my brother. He's the only family that I have in the South. Everybody is still up in New York. And when I moved to Atlanta, real estate was not particularly the goal. But I had a best friend whose mother's friend was a broker in Atlanta. And so she was the only person that I knew when I moved there, besides, my immediate family. And so I just got to know her and she kind of presented real estate to me just very casually. And the more that I spoke to her about what real estate can do for people, I really thought that it was a calling. Like, I love to talk to people. I love to support people. I love education. So first-time homebuyers, first-time investors, walking people through that process really brings me a lot of joy. So the more that I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Real estate could really be a fulfilling career for me. And so I got my license, and that was back in 2018. And I was a solo agent for the first 3 years. And then in 2021, I joined the Anna K in-town team. And so I've been with them for the last 3 years. And so that's kind of been my journey in real estate. I do a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of, empty nesters or people expanding their family, and then also investors. I think that using real estate as a vehicle to grow your wealth is a really great option. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, in hopes that, we can support you guys in also building your wealth. And I will let Eliza take it from here.
So my name's Eliza Kent. I am licensed in Los Angeles, and I'm also licensed here. I started off as an investor. So I started off as an investor. I was a hairstylist in TV and film. I traveled around and doing movies, working with actors all over the world. And then I was like, you know what? I actually really love investing. Went to school during COVID, went to architecture school at University of Colorado, Denver. And then I worked at a luxury architecture firm where we designed $10 million plus homes all along to PCH. And then from there, I was like, I love design. Let me get my real estate license. I think I want to be a developer because there's not a lot of women in that space. And it was kind of annoying. I felt like every time I talked to a contractor or anyone, it was like, okay, little girl, let the men do the work. And I was like, I'm going to be your boss. I don't like how this is going. I want to be the boss. So I'm going to be taking my classes. Then I took a real estate analysis and investment course through UCLA. So now I can sit in the rooms, and now I help Anna Kay in town. I'm a strong background with working with developers and investors here in Atlanta and all over the country. So that's where I'm at. And I'm going to go to the next slide here for me. So I'm going to kind of get right into it because that's why we're all here. So everyone probably always hears all the time about, what is a good deal? And a good deal has two parts. You have your equity, and then you have motivation. And my dear friend, Henry Washington, is fantastic. He went from one door to 120 doors in a span of 6 years in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I, have taken a mastermind with him, and I just really admire him and his work ethic. But the biggest thing is, I think as investors, we're building community. We're not only making money, we're, trying to build a legacy for the city and within ourselves and create generational wealth. So it's very important to understand that when we have a good deal, that we're here to, not displace people. You're here to solve people's situations. Okay. So we're going to go back to this I'm going to explain that when we get, on the board. I'm going to show you what that means. But right now, I just kind of want you to keep it in your mind, equity and motivation. Because as an investor, we don't buy houses. We're buying situations. And that's what makes a good deal. So to get a little bit back, I told you I started off as an investor. This is a property that is a good deal. This is the listing photo. So this is the photo of the back house. This is the ADU. This is my property in California. And this guy's house was absolutely wonderful. I mean, all the things you would think when you want to buy a house, right? I mean, look at that. There's trash in the yard. There's just garbage everywhere. We're going to go to the next slide. I mean, this was obviously nothing's marketed. This was the kitchen of the main house. And then we have this part right here that's part of back house. It's so, I think everybody wants to live here. So then we're gonna move forward from this. So I saw this house and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go look at it because these are the deals. This is how you make money. If you want to do a flip, you want to get into buying rentals. This is the kind of stuff that's nobody's looking at, right? So we're gonna move on. And then this is what I did for $30,000. I got stuff on Amazon. Those chairs and that dining table I got from Amazon. We repainted the house. The main things I spent money on, I made this a midterm rental, which is 31 days or more. It's kind of like what people think of Airbnb. And we kind of created this space where people can come and rent for, 3 to 6 months at a time, whether that's a travel nurse or a travel doctor or things of that sense. So, and that's the backyard that you saw with all the crap in it. We cleaned all that up. And one of the things that came from this property is when you become an investor, you want to make sure you have appreciation and rental income. So what I did with that property that I just showed you was I created what's called forced appreciation. So by doing that and getting that reappraised, I purchased that property. It was a 3-bed, 2-bath with an ADU. We purchased it for $585. And the mortgage on that was about $4,000 a month. And now that property, I make $2,350 a month from that property. And I also, that property is now worth $800,000. And in a matter of, 4 years, that's what forced appreciation is. And then, what you want to do is once you become and you decide I want to be an investor, the number one thing you want to start thinking about is, okay, I got to set myself up to do this. And you want to think about professionals to work with. So you want to have people that are financial strategists, tax strategists. You want to start thinking about, okay, what kind of insurance brokers do I have? And that's where, real estate professionals can really help you with connecting you with the right people so that you are making the right investments and that you're protecting yourself. We're going to go to the next slide. And so, how do we analyze a deal? And these are things that we will go through with you if you ever want to be, get into the investing part of it. Some of the things that, real estate agents can do or qualified real estate agents can do, I would say, in agents that work at a high level, we're going to perform our due diligence. We're going to show you like what on a, scale of what it's going to look like to calculate your return on your investments, make informed investment decisions, monitor and manage those investments. So what does that mean? That means that we're going to make sure that you are set up for success. We're going to look at a bunch of properties and we're going to say, okay, let's figure out what's called a buy box. So when you have a buy box, you say, hi, I'm an investor. I have a buy box. My buy box is I buy in neighborhoods where schools are 7+ rating or more. I buy in demographics where income is 110,000 or more, single or dual as a family. And I buy in areas where I know that the appreciation or year-on-year growth is going to give me at least the minimum 3%. So that's one of the ways that we can make these informed decisions. And when it comes to monitoring and managing, what we want to do is whether in the beginning you might want to self-manage because you want to save the property, like, management fee, and that's fine. There's also options. If that's not something for you, we can, assist you with hiring a property manager and they will take a portion and you don't have to worry about it. It's like, okay, I just check in, I just look over my P&L and I just make sure that, okay, everything is moving forward and I take care of the maintenance. The next part of analyzing a real estate deal is, like I said, defining your investment criteria, doing the market research. And then the next parts here, these are the hard things that takes time to learn. Evaluating your property financials. So understanding how much that county and that city is paying in taxes, when those taxes are due, conducting market comps by understanding that the market shifts. And there are areas that may be what we call transitional neighborhoods where you see like, wow, there's a lot going on here. Like, I'm sure you guys remember Summer Hill 10 years ago is not Summer Hill now. So the idea is, how do I get in those neighborhoods and I know what's happening in the laws, what incentives is happening in zoning, where are developments happening so that I can get in those neighborhoods at the right time, and then assessing the property condition, like the property I showed you with my property, the property was good. It was in good condition. Believe it or not, the bones are great, but just understanding that, okay, you might need to get a maid or a cleaner, you might need to get, a couple of handymen and moving on. And then the biggest thing is, making sure our finances are correct. So common pitfalls, common like mistakes that we see, with investing in real estate. Most people, they react really fast. They fail to research. They don't understand how to manage their cash flow, which that's a big part of it, understanding your financials. And then a lot of people, they decide impulsively. So they're saying, oh, I'm going to do a flip. And then, oh, I'm going to do, a subject to, and oh, I want to do long-term investing. And then they try to self-manage instead of hiring. And I think, under 5 deals, I've done, about 7 deals on my own. And then, with other people, like I would say, I'm probably getting really high up there now, but with more deals, just analyzing and talking. But when it comes to investing, your money, it takes, we work so hard to figure out like how to grow that. And we really want to ensure that we understand these things, and wealth is built through time. But once you get going and once you understand that formula, that's when you can take action. Let's see here. I know Jess and I reached out to you guys asking for questions. A lot of you guys were asking about wholesaling and things like that. So we're going to get to that, and we want you to ask your questions. Things can be confusing. So flipping. The biggest thing we have to understand with flipping is the after repair value. You want to make sure that you're 70% after repair value. And if you guys, if anyone's interested in understanding or they want to get in flipping, we have formulas and stuff that we can talk about. The way that I invest is I do midterm rentals and long-term rentals. So LTR is a long-term rental. That's anything that's like a year lease. That's a long-term rental. When you do your deal analysis, you want to make sure that you are considering that property at putting 20 to 25% down. Now, that doesn't mean you have the 20 to 25% down, but when you do your analysis, you do 20 to 25% down, you do a long-term rental, and you cash flow on that property at a minimal, because long-term rentals are the safest, because risk, that's what's going to, it's the cash flow, and that's going to be the minimum. Then you have your midterm, which is 31 days or more. So midterm rentals, what's nice about it is they're furnished. You probably get like 1.5% to 2% of the purchase price on your rent of the home. Those are your, your travel nurses, film industry, contract worker, and you have your short-term rental. Most people think Airbnb. Airbnb is a platform. There's also Furnished Finders. There's also Zillow. So these are all just platforms that people use. So it's actually called a short-term rental, and that is someone that is just a weekend, or someone that's like coming in for a week or 2 weeks. My thing, I'm just going to say this right now, is that with short-term rentals, I guess I'm breaking up a little bit, guys, so I'm going to switch over to my phone real quick. Okay, I'm going to continue on with the, great. So I'm just going to go back to the long-term rental, midterm rental, and short-term rental. I'm going to go back to that. So long-term rental, 1 year, midterm rental, 31 days or more. And then you have your short-term rentals, which is like a weekend, what most people consider Airbnb. That's your short-term rental. That's the highest. Here's my thing about short-term rentals. Laws are changing on short-term rentals. Be very careful, understand your zoning, understand the governing laws of what's going to take for you to have a short-term rental. You can't just buy a short-term rental anywhere now. It's actually, very hard to do that. So just if that's something you want to get into. Then there's house hacking, which is how I started. You basically buy a house and you rent out the rooms. Let's say you live in one portion and you can rent out the rooms, or maybe it's a split level and you say, okay, I'm going to do a little construction and turn this into 2 units. Or you can do like a basement. You know, that would be like a house hack situation where you take and you're living in the existing house. You have to be living in it because to do a house hack, you might want to get a FHA, conventional, or a VA, and those requirements require for it to be your primary residence. Then you get into joint venture investing, and that's with private money or hard money. Private money would be like friends, family, business owners that you feel like you can have good relationships with, that you can get private money. And then there's hard money. So hard money lenders do exist. I think that, you know, and they give you all the cash for you to invest in a property to do your flip. When you become a seasoned investor and when you've done maybe like, I would say 10 plus deals and you've been in it and you've gone through, you know, the things that can go wrong, that's when hard money becomes kind of interesting. And I feel that there's opportunity that's there, same with private money. But in the beginning, it could be like, hey, me and my girlfriend, you know, we want to buy a house together and we're going to split it. And that can be like a house hack situation. And that's a good way to do private money too. Then you have your real estate investment trust. And then your real estate, like there's platforms for you to invest. So there's stock options for real estate investing. And there's also one where like you can go to like a funding and where you buy like multiple units, like someone's trying to raise funds for, I don't know, like a mobile home park, or they're trying to raise funds for a storage unit or an apartment building. You put in the money and then, you know, you have to be vetted. You have to have a certain amount. They do a lot of checks on your background. And then once you pass through that, then they'll say, okay, we'll take your money. And, you know, but that's something that, you know, I think comes down the line too, after you've done a little bit of investing as well. All right, Jess, you can take it over.
Okay, thank you. That was great. Okay, so we're going to talk now a little bit about what we do as far as helping you when you hire us to partner. As we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of moving parts, so we just want to ensure that you know, you feel supported throughout the entire process. So there's really 4 things that we want to kind of get our ducks in a row when it comes to investing. So the first one is going to be your financial options. And Eliza talked a little bit about that. You know, there are traditional mortgages. So we do have quite a few relationships with local preferred lenders. Of course, there's cash. So if you have the funds and you can just buy the property outright, that's awesome. We do also have private money lenders, which again, Eliza just touched on. And then there's also crowdfunding, which basically means that, you know, we go out and you try to find money from other people such that that money is not coming out of your pocket. And there's people that we can connect you with as well. So those are kind of like the type of money that you could do for investing. And then as far as financing goes, there's some other things that you would need to understand. Probably the main thing if you're not using money is, cash, is interest rates. The interest rate is higher if you're going to buy an investment property versus if you were going to buy a primary. So similar to what Eliza was talking about earlier, when you buy an investment property, you need a minimum 20% down. If you were to do a house hack, meaning you lived in the property, you had as little as 5% down, those interest rates are going to differ. And then if you do use a hard money lender, their interest rates are even higher. So you just want to make sure that you understand what your financial profile is. And then something else that you really want to keep in mind is what is your, you know, the risk assessment. So that's going to include things like market validity, the property depreciation. You want to take into consideration vacancy rates, which is something that we can help you with. You know, in an ideal world, you buy a house, you close on the house and you get somebody in there, within a week or two. But there's sometimes where it may be a couple months, either right off the bat where you are finding a tenant, or, your tenant's lease ends and then you have to find a new tenant. So you want to make sure that your finances can cover any time that there is not somebody living in the property and paying you for that. Something else that you want to make sure is that you have an emergency fund for your rentals. Things happen, right? HVACs break, roofs can have leaks. There's multiple things that are unexpected. So you want to make sure that when you purchase an investment property, you also have a nest egg in the event that something like that happens. You're also going to want to do a cash flow analysis, and that's something that Eliza and I can help you with. We've got spreadsheets, we have different tools, different websites that we use. So we'll be able to sit down and walk you through what that looks like. And if you're going to have, a positive cash flow, like Eliza was talking about earlier, there's positive cash flow and then there's also appreciation. Again, in ideal world, you would want both. But right now with the interest rates, I think a lot of people are focusing more on that appreciation. Not to say that you can't have cash flow, it's just not as, as much as, some of these people that bought back in like 2020, 2021 with the lower interest rates. You're also going to want to do your market research, which is something that we can help you with. We want to make sure that your investments are lucrative. We're going to help you analyze trends. We're going to run property evaluations. We're going to run rental rates. So we're going to do all of that legwork for you such that when you are ready to submit an offer, you will understand that it is a good financial investment for you. There's also exit strategies that you're going to want to take into consideration. Like, what is your plan? Do you want to buy a property and fix it up and then turn around and sell it in a couple months? Or are you looking to buy a property and hold on to it and get a tenant in there, right? So there's different ways that you can invest in properties. And so that's something that we'll also, walk you through. And then you're also going to want to talk to, a CPA or a financial advisor, because there's definitely tax implications when purchasing an investment property. Things like deductions, depreciation. Obviously, you're going to have property taxes, capital gains, things like that. And if you don't have somebody in your corner like a CPA or a financial advisor, those people are on our Rolodex as well. So we can connect you with those people. Okay. And so then the next thing is going to talk about property criteria. And so this is, you're going to come to us and let us know if you're looking at a specific location. But that's also something that's part of our job, right? Like, we study the market day in and day out. So we know the different areas of town where you can still get a good deal and get positive cash flow and get appreciation. So, things that you may want to be looking for are places where people want to live, right? So near amenities, such as like parks or churches or things like that. Schools, if you decide that your buy box or your ideal tenant is a family. Are you close to transportation? So like the MARTA or, the airport, things like that. And also, studying where there are, job opportunities or things that are coming into the area that could cause the potential growth. I mean, if you guys were here before the Beltline was built, you know how drastically that has transformed the city. And so people who, live near the Beltline and bought prior to are definitely sitting on some equity. You're also going to want to know what your property type is. Are you looking for a single family home? Are you looking for a multifamily home? Going back to that house hack that Eliza was talking about earlier, a duplex or a triplex is a great investment because you can live in the property and then you can rent the other 2 units out. So that's going to help offset your mortgage. Townhouses and condos are definitely something that we see in Atlanta that people are purchasing, but HOAs do come with their own sort of, red tape. Some HOAs don't allow rentals at all. Some HOAs have a cap. So that means, 20% of the units inside the community can be rented at one time. So if they've hit that cap, then there's a wait list. So obviously you want to know about that prior to purchasing a property. And then, most HOAs don't allow short-term rentals. So if it is your goal to do Airbnb or even midterm rentals, a lot of those are banned inside of Atlanta. So really your only opportunity would be to have that long-term tenant in place. And then just something to keep in mind is a due diligence period. I know some of those pictures Eliza had showed, from the outside, some people may not think that that's a good house, but she had mentioned, that it was solid structure. So we'll help you, with due diligence, getting, if you need like a home inspection, which we always recommend. Radon is really pertinent in the state of Georgia, so we recommend that. Sewer scopes. And we just want to make sure that the house you go under contract is the house that you think it is, and there's not going to be any other issues. So we'll help you with that along the way. Okay, and then investment strategies. So we kind of talked a little bit about this earlier. I think the biggest thing is, what is your risk tolerance, right? Like, do you have the ability to have some vacancies? Do you have the ability to, potentially take on a project that turns into a little bit more money than you had originally thought? So that's why we sit down and we make sure that you have a really good understanding of what your financial profile is. And then we're going to make sure that that house that you invest in matches that. We're going to do market analysis. So that's, again, a reason why you want to partner with real estate agents, because we're going to analyze local trends. We're going to look at property values. Is that a neighborhood that is appreciating? Is that a neighborhood that's depreciating for some reason? We're also going to run rental demands, which is something that we can do in a couple of our different programs. Like, how long does a property sit on the market before it is able to secure a renter? If it's, 90 days, well, that's a conversation that we have to have, because do you have 90 days worth of reserves to pay a mortgage without having a tenant paying you back? And then we're also going to talk about, property types, which we kind of just talked a little bit about. Do you want something that's residential? You can also invest in commercial, and you can also invest in industrial, which is like a mixed use. So each of those comes with their own risk factors. And so that's something that we'd also help you out with. I think it's also super important that you stay flexible and adaptive, because the real estate market literally changes all the time. Again, why it is so important to, make sure that you partner with somebody whose job is to keep a pulse on the real estate market, such that we do know the trends, we do know emerging opportunities, and we do know market conditions. So I just would say you want to stay open-minded. And then your target market. So something that, we want to talk about is, what is your market demographic? Like, do you have a specific kind of ideal tenant in mind? Is that a single person? Is that a couple without kids and a dog? Is that a family? All of those different types of markets are going to be important when we figure out what you're looking for. And once you find the market demographic, we're also going to take into consideration economic indicators. So there's some things that we look at, like job growth. What are the unemployment rates? What is the industry diversification, which is amazing because Atlanta has such a mixed bag of all different industries. So you're really going to have a diverse employment sector. And so that's something we'll walk you through as well. And then again, we're going to help with the rental market analysis. So we want to talk about rent to income ratios, vacancy, things like that. So just again, we're just going to be here to be your advocate and to support you, and whatever you're looking to try to succeed, we'll be able to help you with that. And then it's not necessarily that because you live in Atlanta, you have to invest in Atlanta. As Eliza had mentioned, she has investments in California. She has investments in Colorado, in Texas. So you definitely can invest in other parts of the country. And we have a very large network. So anywhere in the country that you're interested in investing, we're happy to connect you with somebody. But Atlanta is a really great place for opportunity. We have a really strong economic growth. As mentioned, we've got a pretty diverse economy. There's industries in finance, technology, healthcare, logistics, entertainment. We are home to a lot of Fortune 500 companies. So like Home Depot, UPS, Coca-Cola, Delta, Chick-fil-A. and we have a significant population growth. Like they're just constantly bringing in new jobs, which obviously people who are moving to the city need a place to live. Our affordability is still relatively affordable, especially if you compare it to like New York, where I'm from, California, where Eliza came from. You know, we still have a really affordable cost of living. So a lot of people are, you know, coming here because of that. And then we have a really great development and infrastructure. So I don't know if you guys know, but they're expanding the MARTA. The Beltline is not even like halfway done. It's going to eventually connect 22 miles. They're talking about doing an expansion in the airport. So we've just got a lot of great opportunities that are just going to cause the housing market and the job market to continue to grow. We also have a really good culture and entertainment hub. So we've got diverse dining, world-class museums, theaters, multiple sporting events, outdoor recreation. So Atlanta is a really enticing city. And I believe the majority of the people that I actually know in Atlanta are expats. So people are moving here all the time. And then we also have higher education institutions. So you've got Georgia Tech, you've got Emory, and you've got Georgia State. And I have a couple of investors who are parents to children that go to one of those institutions because they're like, why would I pay room and board when I can just invest in a property for 4 years and then potentially sell it, you know, when they move out. So Atlanta, again, is just going to be, and here's some more, you know, job opportunities. It's just going to be a growing market. I think that, you know, as we talk to people, people are like, there's this housing bubble and there's this crash and all of the prices are going to drop, but there's no statistics that point to that as far as the Atlanta market goes. You have to remember that like all the news that you're getting is national news, which again is why you need to hire somebody who is a local expert, because Atlanta market is just going to continue to grow. I mean, these are some statistics that we pulled. It's forecasted to have 840,000 more jobs by 2050. And that's just insane. All those people are going to need places to live. And so why would you not own a property that one of those people could move into, right? And then these are just some screen grabs. I'm gonna actually put, we got this from the census. And so I'm gonna put this in the chat so everybody can have access to that as you're looking at different places to invest. But this is just super interesting. So you can see up here, Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Alpharetta metro area. There's almost 6.3 million people that live within this area. The average age is 73, which is a little bit less than the national average of 39. And so that's interesting because when you're going to look at the demographic of the people you want to rent to, just keep that in mind. This is talking about the number of housing units. So there's 2.5 million housing units. And if you look all the way to the right, owner occupied, 67 of those housing units are occupied, which means 33% are renter occupied. So there's no reason why you couldn't be one of those landlords. The vacancy rate also is really high, or sorry, is not high, which is great. So there's only 7% vacancy rate. So what that's saying is that it's very highly likely that you will have an easy time finding a tenant. So we always like to see that, right? And underneath, you'll notice that single houses, single family houses are 73% of the investment properties. So that's, again, a really great, I think investing in a single family house is going to be more lucrative than if you were to invest in like an HOA, so condo or townhouse. Then they say that the median value is 362,000, and of course that's across 6 million or sorry, $2.5 million homes. And depending on where you live in Atlanta, you may not agree with that. But if you look at this graph, you'll see that you know, I would say most investors probably start between the 200 to 300, but let's just say you know, you have some liquid cash and you can go all the way up to the 500,000. Well, that's 73% of the properties. So that's a lot of inventory that's yours for the taking. I found this to be super interesting because it shows that the average household has 2.7 people per household. So that's going to be, you know, a couple with at least one child. But over to the right, I found it to be really interesting because you will notice that the female householder has quite a large segment of the non-married couples, which is amazing. All the people on this call are women. And that's very important to Eliza and myself. We really want women to be able to grow their own personal wealth. So when I saw this, it made me super excited.
I think it
Also,
was like the most exciting thing for us. We're like, look at all the women.
yeah, we're like, yay, women. And it says material status single. So this means that these single women are out here and they're doing their thing and they're buying houses. And these single men are just renting. And, you know, we're superior. And it just makes me so happy. And then this is talking about just education. So 91.5% of people have graduated from high school, and then about 42% have gotten a higher degree. And that's important because it just goes back again to the tenant that you're looking for. You know, some of these people want to be closer to you know, these jobs that are, you know, high paying CEO level. And this, where is it? Oh, sorry, I'm coming up in one. I'm missing it. This is talking about the median household. So 85,000 is the average, which is actually 10% higher than the average, which is 75,000 across the United States. But again, if you've got people coming from, you know, New York, California, Dallas, things like that, this is still going to be an affordable city for them. Oh, here it is. At the very bottom, 31 minutes means to travel time. I found that to be so, I wouldn't say eye-opening because I travel a lot for work and traffic is insane, but it's just what excites me about this is that like you don't have to buy a property that's like right inside downtown, because Inman Park, you know, Midtown, some of those other neighborhoods that are like near these hubs are a little bit more expensive. So knowing that somebody will maybe live down in College Park or East Point or over in the West End where housing is affordable, they're open to making that commute. So that made me really excited. And then this just says the prospect of getting rich is highly motivating and few people get rich without taking a gamble. Investing is a gamble. You know, we can't predict the future. We can't predict vacancy rates. We can't predict, you know, unforeseen things like a tree falling on the house. You know, there's just things that we can't predict. And so you have to be okay taking that gamble. But I think what's on the other side of that gamble is so rewarding. And like Eliza said, you know, the first house or the second house, it's going to seem a little overwhelming. It might seem a little bit scary, but before you know it, you can just go, you know, it's like a domino effect. And what we always say is we want to be the people that help you build your Monopoly board. Like we want you to just continue to grow, continue to get your wealth. And if you think about it as a plan, like if you do have children, this is your kid's college fund. This could be your kid's wedding fund. This is your retirement fund. This is your something happened in my life and I wasn't expecting, like let's say an accident, and I need cash quickly, like this will help you. And so if you think about it just as like a nest egg or some sort of security for your future, I think that could be like so exciting.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then this is our information. So I'm going to put this in the group chat. Like I said, we're going to share the deck. And that way you guys have our information and you have this so you can go back and reference. And now we're just going to open it up to questions. If anybody wants to take their hand off mute. Yes, please. Eliza, can they unmute themselves or do you have to do that?
I think they unmute.
Santa Teresa, can you unmute yourself or do you?
Sure. I think I'm unmuted at this moment. Are you
good.
able to hear me?
Hey.
Hi.
Great.
So thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for that amazing presentation. I learned a lot. I'm fairly new to investing, so today was very informative. And my question is information you may have already covered, but I was having a little bit of connectivity issues. So my two-part question is, what would you say is the average amount of, let's say, cash needed to invest? And the second part is what type of profit or I guess return on investment do you see as far as like maybe trying to get a single family home and flipping it, or just investing in the ways that you guys described.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay. So here's the thing. So my house that I told you, I bought it at 5% down at $585,000. Right? So if you do 585 times 0.05, that was $29,250 that I
Mhm.
paid to get that house.
Okay.
Then I house hacked that house, meaning I kept one room. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I rented it as a 2-2. So it was owner occupied, but I was traveling at the time. As a film hairstylist. So I just kept a room to myself and I just house hacked, and that's how we bought the property. And then I had the ADU in the back that wasn't utilized as well. So I rented that too. So I think the biggest thing to answer your question is what we would have to do in order to understand is first know how much cash you actually have. Because just because it's not today doesn't mean it's not for tomorrow. And can I set you up with a financial advisor or a financial strategist and a tax strategist? Because maybe, if it's only $1,000, maybe it's talking to someone and it just, you investing into something outside of real estate. Or maybe it's coming creative and figuring out how to get private money so you guys, so you and someone else can go in on a property together. There's a lot of information that we need in order for us to really go through to understand like what kind of cash flow that would need. So if you want to invest in a single family home, what I would suggest is meeting with us. We connect you with, the best lenders. We don't like big box lender. Well, I shouldn't say this. We prefer to use private lenders that own their own mortgage company. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why you don't go to Chase to get a mortgage, or that we suggest that you go to a private lender. It's just because there are things in underwriting and there are opportunities, and they're more hands-on with your ability to get a home that fits within your price range. So I find that working with a private broker, instead of like a Chase or a big box kind of a lender, is that you have the opportunity. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, then you go through the whole process of being pre-approved. And then we look into, okay, now I know how much you can spend. I mean, I have people that are buying properties from 250 all the way to, $2 million. So I think it's a case by case. And I think we have to really focus in on what works for you specifically at this point in time. But what I will say is this, I think everyone in here, and this is something I was talking about today with an amazing friend of mine. Her name's Allison. She owns a great company called Avery Wealth. She's my tax strategist and she's also my financial advisor. But something I was talking with her today is every paycheck, every check you get moving forward from now until forever, you pay yourself first. You will invest in yourself first. And after you figure out how much you're going to invest, then everything else is, okay, I live my life. You know what I mean? Because nobody's paying, you have to take care of you. You're putting your own, investing in yourself is number one for oxygen mask. Is that helpful?
Yes, it totally is. Thank you.
Perfect. Oh, hi, Allison. I'm glad you came.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Hey, I have a question.
Hi.
Hi, Eliza, how are y'all?
Great. How are you?
Good, thanks. So, what I'm hearing you say is that you think until we get to a certain number of units, excuse me, you think that we should be sticking to traditional lending options? 5% down for $500,000. So I mean, you're getting a loan basically for that amount from the bank, and then then you lived in that property. So that sounds like a very traditional way to go about that. Are you saying you think
what I'm suggesting is that people have to figure out their risk tolerance, and every person is very individual on that risk. And you, it says that you're a realtor.
Right.
Yeah, so you wanted to, do you have an investment property right now currently?
I do not, but that's my next move.
Okay, so one of the great benefits that you have, and this is why, do you have a tax strategist that you work with for your taxes?
Not personally, no.
Okay, so here's one of the things that's great about being a real estate investor or a landlord, you guys. Here's one of the things that's really important. Write this down. There are so many deductions and there's cost segregation and there's ways that we can, write off our income by working as a real estate industry professional, right? So you owning a real estate investment property, being a realtor, you have a lot of avenues. You have a lot of things that are available to you. I'm happy to go through those options with you. And I'm always about people, especially in the industry investing. I want them to win. I want them to succeed. But you have access to things that a lot of people don't, like wholesalers.
Right. That was the question that I actually wrote in about it. Did I miss that portion of the conversation?
No, we haven't gone over wholesalers, and I'll tell you why. So wholesaling, I think, takes a lot of experience because wholesalers, you don't have to be a real estate professional to work to do a deal with a wholesaler. What I found in my experience with wholesalers is that when you have a wholesaler, they find a property from the owner, and then they cut the deal, and then they get a portion. They get a portion of that deal for selling it to somebody, right? So it's like they don't have to be a real estate professional. They can just do for sale by owner to buyer. So the thing with, and you can get contracts done through an attorney and all that. What I don't like about wholesaling is that once you start peeling back the onion, and the difference between working with a real estate professional is we're going to do things like we're going to make sure that the title is clean. We're going to make sure that the property has inspection. We're going to make sure that they're doing all the things that Jess was talking about to ensure the safety that you're making a solid investment. But after a couple of those and you're like, okay, I've done 5 deals. I think 5 is good because you're going to have things come up like, oh my God, I bought this property and the HVAC went out and and I did a home warranty. Once you get the hang of it, then yeah, play around, try a wholesaler, try private money, try hard money, but make sure what we're doing is it's my job to make sure you're building a financial pyramid that is solid. And I'm always going to recommend the least risk, which is not going to make you the most money, but it's going to make you very wealthy in the long run. And that's what I'm more interested in,
Okay, thank you.
I do think wholesalers is very great. And I do think there's many different options. I just think that I think it should come with a little more experience,
Yeah. I'm trying to think about ways that people can make money so that they can invest in the things that they want to invest in. And it's harder, like you said, you're not making as much money with the conventional ways in the beginning, but I understand what you're saying as far as building that structure.
Yeah, but you're also going to have more write-offs by having more solid properties with tenants. And then in the future, you're going to have, equity.
Mm-hmm.
So then what you can do is, how it is, you can refinance and pull that equity and reinvest it.
That's
In
true.
1 year, I bought a house in Peachtree City. I bought it for $650. In 1 year, that property, we just sold it, what was it, $725? That's equity, that's power, because you
Yeah.
buy it in a great place. Take that money, you reinvest it. Now I have capital gains and there's other ways, but that's what Allison's about. That's what
Okay.
she's helping me with. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
So I have a question kind of segueing exactly on what you have. My name is Dallery and I have an investment. Well, it was my primary home that I moved, but it's now an investment home in Vegas.
Okay.
It is killing right now because I used a grant to get in. Like any money I put in was like all on improvements, and a model match of my little tiny home sold 4 days ago for $130,000 more than what I bought it for, right?
Congrats.
So
That was very smart. Good
thank
job.
you. So my thing is you know, when do you sell? Because I'm also in this weird thing where I'm in the capital gains exemption because it was my residence, but because it's been a rental for 2 years, you know, a percentage of that. So I think when I did because I have a tax guy, a financial guy, and ran the numbers. So I think I would pay out of the 110 that I would net, I would pay like $8,000 in capital gains tax because of the allocation to the investment property. Do you keep the property is still going up, but kind of like you said, it's old, it's 40 years old. I've had no issues with it. My tenant has been good, but there comes a point when things are going to start breaking and that house is going to start costing me money. So I guess my question is like, when do
Yeah.
you sell?
Never.
Yeah.
I'm greedy. I'm greedy. You're never gonna buy that property at that price again. It's so
I
much
know.
cheaper. It's so much cheaper to replace the roof. It's so much cheaper to replace the HVAC, you know, and doing those little things and keeping up with the plumbing and then, you know, little updates here and there. That's just maintenance. And I understand, but if it's a cash cow, you keep it for as long as possible. Because think about the people that bought homes in the 80s that bought them for 40,000. Now those people are laughing at a bank at 1.2 million.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I'm looking at the history of Atlanta. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Why did I buy that? Why wasn't why don't I have one of those houses? So I think
Yeah.
it's like you hold on to it. And Las Vegas is even more important because for your taxes.
Oh,
That's
trust me, I just paid my first year of state tax this year. I was like, what is this?
yeah, you keep onto that property. You just hold on to it. I would not sell that thing. I would hold on it. But what you could do, get a HELOC, buy another property, pay off the HELOC. You know, now you can leverage. That's something that's very important too, knowing when to leverage. So I would wait. I mean, I feel like it's, you know, it's always good. I would definitely, you know, sit on it, think about it. And then, you know, if you want to talk to, you know, like a local lender here, like, are you thinking of reinvesting in Las Vegas or you want to reinvest here?
So I moved to Atlanta and, you know, part of me is kind of like, I just kind of want to, I'm not like, oh, I just want to cut it, but, you know, cut it, make my money, you know, and then have the money sit kind of like personally and let it do what it needs to do. Cause I actually have a condo in Atlanta as well. And so I do want to reinvest. I just don't know where it needs to go.
I would
No,
sell the condo, girl. You want
my
my
condo,
honest?
no, my condo is beautiful. It's where I live. I can't,
Oh, okay.
it's in a beautiful neighborhood. It's so gorgeous. I love it so much. I can't sell it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think condos are, I mean, I love condos and I'll say this, I'll just say, you know, with like, the one thing I don't like, and this is like the investor mind, is like, I don't like HOAs.
Yeah. So the home we're in, the condo we're in, my boyfriend and I, we bought it because I refused to leave the neighborhood, and to rent was insane. So, and to buy just made more sense
Yeah,
financially. So, and he's a first time home buyer. So we leveraged everything. I'm not on the loan, didn't hurt my pride, you know? So yeah. Okay. Well, you answered my question. I don't want to hog up the time, but
no
thank
problem.
you.
We'll talk, we can talk too. Yeah, you reach out anytime.
Cool.
Jess, will you take some? I'm gonna just, do one thing and charge my.
Yes. Ursuline, are you raising your hand? You have a question?
I do have a question. First, thanks for the great information this evening. And my question is around utilizing a HELOC or just taking out a straight home equity loan to get into the investment game. So I currently own a home here in the Atlanta area. It has roughly about $250,000 worth of equity. And it's kind of just sitting there. So I want to do something with it. But in just kind of understanding, getting into the investment game and understanding which would be the best product to utilize that equity in the way that I want to, as far as purchasing another home.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And we can definitely connect you with some of our preferred local lenders. The HELOC, there are some things that you have to keep in mind. You can only use up to 80% of the value. So it's not like you would be able to use that whole $200,000 that you have. And as mentioned before, when you take out a HELOC, the interest rate on a HELOC is going to be more than what the national average interest rate is if you were to just like go buy, like just get a regular loan for today. So I definitely think that there are some nuances. And that's why it's super important to, partner with a local lender because they're going to be able to walk you through that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to use that money for, buying another investment property, we are all for that.
Okay. Okay.
Eliza, do you have anything to
Thank you.
add? Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
you're
I
totally
think,
fine. I just think that the higher interest rate is definitely something to keep in mind, and then you cannot use like the full amount of the equity. And I think that that's something that people don't realize. They're like, oh, it's, I've got $200,000. I can then take out that full $200,000. And that's not the case. You can only take up to 80%. And so just again, running the numbers and figuring out, what is your ideal purchase price, and do the numbers make sense? Or would you, do you have enough money within the equity to buy what you want to buy, or would it actually make more sense to just get a normal, loan?
I mean, I will say this, I think
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I will say, I'll just jump in and add real quick. Like if I had your money, I'd probably pull it out and get a HELOC, and I'll tell you why. There are properties that are great in like Noonan, Fayette County, like area, Coweta County, where you can purchase for like, 275. I think, I know Jess and I helped a friend of ours purchase a property down there, and like something like that would be great because, you can get the cash flow on it because the rent there is like 1,700, right? So like, I think it's just
Mhm.
weighing that out and putting the money. It's not like, oh, it's this one thing. I think there's many different options that you can do it, but I would do it. But
Ironically, you
but
mentioned Fayette
I'm
and
greedy. I want all
Coweta.
the houses. I
It's
want
so
all the
funny that you
money. I
mentioned
just want
Coweta
it.
County because that's actually somewhere I've been looking at just land purchase is
Oh, we
out
gotta
in the
talk.
Coweta Noonan area.
Okay, well, we gotta talk then. When we're gonna have to figure out a time to set up and talk, and we'll show you some of the markets.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds
Okay,
good.
perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, I'm going to send something in this chat that I find to be super important. Like we were talking earlier, there's, two types of, or two ways to make money, whether it's cash flow or equity. And this is a chart of the national average of appreciation over the past 80 years. And so we always say, the best time to purchase was 5 years ago, or yesterday or today. So I always think that, it's what if you're thinking about buying something, just, let's sit down and talk about how we can make it happen. Because look at all of this. There's only, I think it's like 6 years. Yeah, where anybody was ever in the negative. Like, this is an asset that's always going to appreciate. And the longer you hold on to it, the more money you're going to make, the more equity you're going to build, and the more money you're going to have that you can then, build your portfolio. So when we got this chart, like it just brings me so much joy because, you can invest in the stock market, but most of the time you're going to make more money investing in real estate.
Okay. See, Harrison, Teresa, let's hear from you for a second.
I think I may have forgotten to
Take your
take
hand
my
down.
hand down on the app, but I did think of one last quick question.
Okay.
My question is again, I believe you guys were giving us this information at the very beginning of the slide, so I apologize for not remembering it directly. But I'm just curious to know all of the different options as far as investing in real estate. I know that there's the like Airbnb type options, single family homes. Would you guys mind covering that one more time? Just the different options for those of us who's completely new and just looking to take our cash to invest.
Yeah, so I think I mean, really, I'm just gonna answer this way. I feel like the best thing for you is for us to sit and then go over that and talk about, like, what we usually do is we do an intake form of like, what is your 5-year goal? That's gonna determine how you invest, right? So if your 5-year goal is I want to live off my investments and I want it to replace my salary. Well, that's going to be a very different plan than someone that says, I just want one property and I just want some cash flow. So I
Okay.
think there's a bigger picture here that we have to understand before saying, let's do it. But there's many different ways. You will have this PDF. But I think if you're, this is why I love doing these kind of talks and, talking to people and getting together, is because now we can sit down and say, okay, what do you want out of your life?
Mhm.
So me right now, like when I invest, what I want out of my life is my cash flow is an extra money for me. I still work and do my thing. My cash goes into stocks. So I
Okay.
just live very small, and whatever I make in my cash, I buy stocks.
Okay.
That's how I like to do it. Some people like to, whatever. So I just think it's very important for us to sit and think, what do you want? What is your life goals? And then we can help you from there. Because then that will determine the avenue you're going to go. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for your patience with me.
Yeah. If two people would like to go first.
I can go.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cornisha. I wanted to know, is it better to buy an investment property in your personal name or with an LLC?
Ooh, it's a good question.
Because I'm currently in the offer process for my first investment property, and my lender was like, if I really want to get into investment properties, I should start putting them in my LLC.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
be honest with you. I feel like it really depends on your long-term goals and I definitely think that it's good to ask someone that's a tax strategist on that, because I don't know what's the benefit. LLCs are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So property you get, you're gonna put it in each individual LLC? Or is it just you put all your properties into one LLC? What he's worried about is your liability, right?
Yes.
And you can get landlord insurance,
Mm-hmm.
umbrella policy temporarily. I just think I think there's a bigger question here,
Okay.
that I feel like I don't think it's like one answer. And you said you're purchasing your first rental property right now?
Yes, I submitted my offer earlier today.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm in the Troup County area, so I'm a little bit like 30 minutes south of Coweta.
Yeah, well, listen, if you ever, I don't know if you're, real estate or how you're going about it. Is this your first property?
Yes. I paid off my primary home last year, and so the lender is thinking the cash out refinance would be best. And so after I get through with this, I like to move to the Atlanta area or north area for sure.
Well, get together with us, because what we can do is, we can show you like, hey, this is how you want to manage your cash flow. These are some of the things, first time landlords, things. If
Okay.
you want that information, happy to sit down, happy to make sure that you're successful, because all
Yes,
that
for
can be
sure.
a lot. So yeah, congratulations. That's really good.
Thank you. I appreciate you all for this opportunity to come to this class.
Oh, I love
Good
it.
information.
Yeah, thank you for coming and congrats. That's amazing. You'll have to keep us posted.
Thank you. I will for sure.
Hey guys, this is Ursuline again. I have two questions that well, I know for one, they're a little more advanced than where I am, but I'm curious.
Let's hear
So the
it.
first question is is around purchasing properties through a trust versus as an individual. And then the second question, and I'm looking to I guess the essential part of the question around that is pros and cons of doing it that way. But then the second question is in regards to, if I own land, what are your thoughts about a 50-50 split with a developer?
If you own land, you know what? If you own land, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna reach out to you and we're gonna talk about it, because I want to make sure that you get the most amount. Okay? I think that's I think there's many ways that there can be, I mean, we work with developers all the time, so I think there's many ways that you can make money on that, you know? As far as like, why would you want to purchase it in your trust? That's my bigger question. What's the,
For taxation protection.
I feel like that's like a,
It's not
Allison.
going to protect you from taxes.
that's a Allison, thank Allison, hi.
Eliza's like, how do I tap her in?
I'm like, Allison,
I was like, come
Allison,
off of you.
No, you're in there.
Right. It's not going to
Well,
help you from a. Mhm.
Okay, yes, please help me understand, because there's been just a plethora of variety answers provided to me before.
Gotcha. I will, I'll send you my phone number and you can call me tomorrow or after this if you like.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah, Allison is really knowledgeable. I'm very grateful for her.
She's like, nope, not gonna help you.
No. I just feel like, you know, I really try to connect people with like their profession and like the most knowledge that they have. And I always want to ensure that you get the best advice. And that is why I'm like always asking these questions. It's not because I don't want to, I just think that it's very important. There are a lot of that can go in a lot of directions. And I just want to ensure that the biggest thing is for you to win. And that's not always going to be the answers from me. I like to be part of a team, so.
That goes back to kind of what we were talking about earlier, is like our Rolodex and our partnerships run very deep. And a lot of these questions that, we're talking about now are financial related. And Eliza and I can help you a little bit, but there's professionals that can definitely like go deeper and help you understand, maybe more than we can, whether that be a lender or a tax strategist or a CPA. So, we're also happy to connect you with the people in our world.
Yeah, and an insurance broker.
That's a good one too,
Definitely
yeah.
Good insurance brokers, yeah. Does that help you?
That was helpful. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Well, we are here.
Yeah, does anybody else have any questions?
All right.
Right. Well, I sent this deck out, so it's in the chat. So everybody has our information. Either myself or Eliza also reached out to you prior to having this, so you have our phone numbers. So if there's any unanswered questions, or you wake up tomorrow and you've thought of something that we didn't talk about, please reach out to us, because we are here to help, we are here to connect you, and we're here to help you build wealth, because those single women in that census just made me so excited. Like, let's just buy Atlanta.
Yeah, and yeah, so thank you so much. And listen, I'm all about feedback, and I would love to do this again. I would love to do this for more people, especially more women. And if you have any like feedback for us in order for us to always grow and ensure that people are getting the right information, we are here for it. We are here to make sure that we do this again, and we can do it at higher levels too. It doesn't have to be, it could be like if you guys are like, okay, that was great 101, but now we want to get into this, or, maybe we go through cash. You tell me what it is for next time, and we'll make sure that happens.
Yeah, we also might be able to bring in somebody too. Like maybe we bring in a financial advisor, a CPA, or a lender somewhere else that can also talk about, things in addition to what we talk about. So
yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Thank you
thank
for
you
coming.
guys.
We were so
Thank
appreciative.
you, everyone.
Guys. I just want to say
Thank you guys. All right. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank
I just want
you.
to say thank you all for just reaching out and giving all the great information, Eliza and Jess. You gave some really, really good things. I hope you guys got everything you needed. I saw all the amazing questions. Did everyone, before we close this out, did everyone get the slide deck already?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I just wanted to give it a minute.
And
Okay, thank you
And also, I
guys.
have one more question. Did everyone get emails of like, hey, because we had a whole thing of like, you know, 2 days before, 10 minutes before, we had an email plan, so. Did anyone have a hard time with the Zoom link or anything like that? We definitely want to make it better.
I didn't receive an email, but I went to my calendar and tapped on the invite, but
Okay.
nothing came through the email.
Okay, okay, great.
Receive emails from Eventbrite itself.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for that feedback. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks. All right,
Do
good
you
night.
Bye.
email just in case, or no, everybody's leaving? Okay.
Bye, guys. All right.